Cereal. I love cereal. When I was a little boy, my favorite part of the week was Saturday mornings. Because on Saturdays, you don't have to go to school and you can sleep in. When I get up, I'll go to the kitchen and I'll get my breakfast. And then I will take my bowl of cereal into the television room. This is back in the dark ages when houses had one television. Remember? I would take my cereal into the TV room and then I would watch cartoons. I love the cartoons. And I love the commercials that came in between the cartoons, especially if the commercials were about cereal. You're getting the theme. For instance, I love the commercials for hello, slide. Captain Crunch. Now, when I was a kid, the commercials claimed that Captain Crunch was made from corn and oats. And even as a kid, I knew that was a lie from the devil. Because I knew that Captain Crunch is made from sugar. Lots and lots of sugar. Sweet, delicious sugar. I know it's bad for me, but I love it. And the commercials always ended with an announcer with a deep announcer voice that said, Captain Crunch would help me grow up with strong bones and muscles if I ate it as part of a balanced, nutritious breakfast. Balanced, nutritious breakfast. Then would come the commercials for Frosted Lucky Charms. Frosted Lucky Charms. Okay, that's terrible. Let's try that again. Frosted Lucky Charms. They are magically delicious, exactly. Who says advertising doesn't work? When I was a kid, the Frosted Lucky Charms commercials featured a man with a fake Irish accent. He would say, oh, it's made of little circles of sugars, and then we mix into those little circles of sugars marshmallows into the shape of hearts, moons, stars, and clover. All made with sugar, sweet, delicious sugar. And the guy with the fake Irish accent would say that children who eat Lucky Charms will build strong muscles and bones if you eat it as part of a balanced breakfast. Even with an Irish accent, it was a lie. And then, of course, comes Frosted Flakes. Frosted Flakes. Tony the Tiger. Tony the Tiger would come on and say, they are great. My teacher in school told us that the actor who did that voice, the voice of Tony the Tiger, his name was Thurl Ravenscroft. How's that for a name? Thurl Ravenscroft. He, the actor who did the voice of Tony the Tiger, was also the singing voice for the original cartoon version of How the Grinch Stole Christmas. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch, exactly. And then, they are great. Same voice, same cereal. And they are made of. And then we frost them by putting what on top of them? But it will make you strong and healthy if you eat it as part of a balanced breakfast. And then there was Wonder Bread. Wonder Bread. When I was a boy, Wonder Bread had an advertising slogan and it said this: Wonder Bread helps build strong bodies in 12 ways. Now, back in the 50s, the slogan said, Wonder Bread has built strong bodies in 8 ways. But inflation happened, and now it's 12. Today, Wonder Bread encourages every child in America to eat 6 slices of bread every day. And it promises that if they did so, all of the added nutrients of Wonder Bread will provide more iron than 3 lamb chops, more vitamin B1 than a serving of fried liver. Now, I don't know if I ever ate 6 slices of Wonder Bread, but if I was presented with a choice of Wonder Bread and fried liver, guess who won every time? Now, I hope I'm not shocking anyone in church this morning when I say that sometimes TV commercials lie. I'm not sure anyone built a strong body eating a box of Captain Crunch every Saturday morning. Nor am I sure that Wonder Bread was better for me than lamb chops. But all of those commercials that I watched as a child, they began to teach me an important lesson. They taught me that I can make my body stronger. I can build an energetic body, a healthier body, if I pay attention to what I eat. There's an old saying which says, you are what you eat. And that saying means that if I eat healthier things, I will build a healthier body. But if I eat an entire box of Frosted Flakes, I may become the Grinch. What you eat and how it builds you up. What you eat and how it builds you up. The Bible talks about the same ideas. But the Bible is not talking about cereal. The Bible is talking about communion. St. Peter reminds the Christians from long ago, and he reminds all of us in church this morning, that God feeds us, that God nourishes us, that God helps us to grow. How does God do that? Well, on one hand, it's very simple. God feeds us because God created this beautiful planet on which we live. God created all the plants that grow, the crops that farmers harvest, the animals and fish can help us to survive. So whenever we eat a mouthful of food, no matter what food it is, we should say thank you to God, because God has created everything everywhere. But St. Peter goes on to remind us that God feeds us in a very special way whenever we gather in church to do what we are doing right now. When we are celebrating the Eucharist, when we are celebrating Holy Communion. And when we come forward to receive the real presence of Christ in His beautiful sacrament, God is feeding us with what Jesus calls the bread of life. God is giving us what we need in order to thrive right now and to live with Him forever. St. Peter is writing to a group of early Christians who were already 2,000 years ago doing what we are doing this morning. 2,000 years ago, Christians gathered together in church on Sunday mornings to hear the gospel, to share the consecrated bread and wine of Holy Communion. And to those ancient people, St. Peter said, and I quote, "You have already tasted that the Lord is good." You have already tasted that the Lord is good. How did they taste the Lord's goodness? By celebrating the Eucharist, by celebrating Holy Communion. In this sacrament, we taste and see that God is good. And then St. Peter goes on to say why God gave us this amazing gift of Holy Communion. St. Peter explains why Christ wants us, each one of us, to eat this heavenly bread, which is more than just plain old bread. In a real sense, the Eucharist is the original wonder bread. Ancient Christians ate this bread, and they were amazed because the Eucharist helped them to remember Jesus and to experience his presence. And they quickly realized that whenever they ate this bread from the altar, whenever they tasted God's goodness, God was working through this sacred food to build up something. St. Peter said, and I quote, "Jesus has chosen you. Jesus is going to build you up, to make you strong and smart, and holy and generous and kind. And he will work through each one of you to build you up, not just building up your bodies, but Christ is going to work through you to build up a world where everyone can know that God is good, and everyone can experience God's kindness through your kindness." Friends, what we eat helps to build us up and makes us stronger. This weekend at St. Anthony, we are so happy because many of our younger friends received their first Holy Communion at the 9 o'clock Mass. And the rest of us, it was a good time to remember how blessed we are to be able to receive the Eucharist every Sunday. In fact, we can receive the Eucharist every day. Being nourished by the Eucharist helps build up our faith. It builds up our courage. It builds up our joy. It makes us strong followers of Jesus. The risen Christ is here with us in church this morning in the Holy Sacrament of the Eucharist. The Christ who worked through us to build up a world where everyone everywhere is welcome, fed, and loved.